Okay, so small reminder before I start my video, please subscribe if you are interested and leave a comment to help improve my video. Thanks. So we return to Venus' Improbable Dream. I have already read this, so let's just wait. My mouse is, yeah, it's just a mini mouse, like a $1 mouse. I really hadn't paid attention to what had been written on it when the club member had given it to me, so curiously I picked it up, balancing my lunchbox on my lap as I read. This is the continuation of the music list thing, by the way, in case it isn't clear. There are quite a few composers on here that I have never heard of. Bach and Mozart, I know those. Everything else is completely strange to me. Oh wait, Ave Maria. That's a traditional Western song, I think. I'm not that familiar with it, though, and I don't recognize the name it is credited to. I don't even know Ave Maria. Well, I know the name, but I don't even know the music. It begins to dawn on me even further that I really don't know much about classical music at all. Considering that I have started to get involved with the club that specializes in it, it's not a good thing. Yep, it isn't. Sliding the list into my open bag, I go back to eating my lunch worriedly. Ah, clock is ticking. Eventually, I had to brace myself from my favorite spot to start heading back to class. As I make my way up the staircase, I find it difficult to leave my troubles behind. What am I going to do about all of this? The member application form and the music list, both arriving in my hands within a moment of each other. Well, I think you are formally the member of the music club now. Informally. Not formally. It seems to be a sign that the universe is desperately trying to point me towards a future where I begin letting myself be around others more and working towards something fun alongside them. Sounds kinda superstitious, but there had been a notable serendipity to it. It's like the path has been laid out before my feet and all I have to do is walk it. Whether I dare to is a different matter. Yeah, totally suspicious. It's as if someone write your story. This is definitely not a fictional novel. This is real life. My head positively whirling, I make it to the top of the stairs, staring down the hallway that leads to my classroom. As I get closer, I pause for a minute, allowing the time to pass. This is another one of my daily rituals. To attract as little attention as possible, I like to enter the room at the very last moment, when Matsumoto-sensei calls the class in order. This way, I avoid having to sit there and endure people's glance and whisper for however long it takes for class to start. I feel myself tense up a little in anticipation, and then the words I'm waiting for manifest themselves. Okay everyone, time to begin. That's my cue. That's my sign to perform on the stage. I snap into action, darting through the door and launching myself into my seat as quickly and quietly as humanly possible. The years of practice have made me quite good at it. Hey, you might be a ninja, who knows? If you're not good at music, perhaps you will be a good ninja. I say, before anyone can look at me, Matsumoto-sensei began his lecture, forcing everyone to pay attention. It is a good system. A lovely system. I remove my bag from my shoulders and take out my book and stationery, ready to distract my mind from its perpetual nervous vibration with some mundane schoolwork. Mundane? However, something stares up at me from on top of my desk, making such a thing impossible. Oh, the application list, yeah. Yep, the application form. The afternoon class seems to have passed very slowly today, and I know exactly why. I have barely been able to concentrate on what Matsumoto-sensei has been saying, unable to lose myself in the monotony of schoolwork like I want to. This application form just keeps bothering me. I hadn't put it away at the start of the first class, too preoccupied with trying to distract myself. It's been peeking out from underneath my textbook for the last 2 hours, a constant reminder that I have a huge decision to make. This wouldn't be as big as a deal for ordinary student, but for me, it is life-altering. Yep, it is. It is for you. Indeed. Will I be able to handle participating in the music club every day? I almost get goosebumps at the thought. Oh, it's so far out of my usual comfort zone. It's practically on another planet. This should make my decision very easy. Knee-jerk reaction? No. I won't do it, I can't. But, however, every time I try to settle on this choice, the conversation I had with Haruka last week pops back into my head. It's like my fear of people and her passion for music are sitting on my shoulders like the classic angel and devil metaphor. When one tries to guide me, the other butts in. There is something that I can't deny though. The way Haruka spoke about the reasons she stays in the music club, her dream hasn't left my mind since that day. Seeing someone so fragile be so persistent. I glance up at Matsumoto-sensei. He has his back to the room while he talks. Writing more equation on the board. Without really knowing what I'm doing, I lift up my textbook slightly, sliding the lone piece of paper out from underneath them and placing it on top. I didn't think I was finished with my internal debate yet, but as if in a trance, I watched as my hand acts on its own, picking up my pen and bringing it down to the application form. Before I knew it, I have written my name on top of it. I don't know why, but I think I'm going to do this. Perhaps it is guilt. My parents and teachers seem to want me to become more sociable than anything, and if I don't give this a proper try, then I'll be letting them all down. Or maybe it's obligation. I essentially been muscled into this in the first place. If I say no, they might try to force it anyway. Or maybe it's Haruka. Who knows? Almost everything she said that day made no sense at all. I don't know. Perhaps it makes sense. A disabled, socially shy and anxious girl who dreams of serenading a room full of people with her music. It's almost laughable how unlikely it is that her dream will ever come true, and yet the fact that someone like her can still hang onto the tiniest little shred of hope and keep trying to move forward despite it all. Well, I guess it must have inspired me, by the most minuscule of margins. I don't know what is going to come of this, and I'm not sure if I'll regret it massively, but I continue to write regardless until the entire application form is complete. I still don't manage to put my mind to work at all for the rest of class, so I simply sit there staring at the now filled-in form while Matsumoto-sensei continues to waffle on about equation in the background. Waffle. When the lessons began to wrap up, I put everything away into my bag, only 2 things remaining in my hands, the form and the music list. Here we go. Leaving the room first, as always, I stalk the corridor quickly as if moving fast enough will prevent me from changing my mind. Okay, if you're going to do this, Kakeru, just get on with it. Oh. Your heart beating so fast. I notice the edge of the page in my hand beginning to tremble, realizing that it's my hand that are shaking. Just do something. Bracing myself and not knowing which direction I'm going to go in, I start to move. I burst into the club room rather ungracefully. I hadn't meant to be so clumsy, but my nerves have turned my limbs to jelly. About half of the club members are here, the others having not arrived from class yet. There are a few glances in my direction at the way I blundered into the room, but it doesn't turn into a stare fast to my relief. With the adrenaline pumping through me, I almost don't notice Kudo-sensei approaching me. "Ah, Kanae, glad to see you back again." His easygoing smile is just a little bit reassuring. I shuffle towards him, my breath a little ragged from what I'm about to do. "My form?" I stumble over the word, jabbing the application form towards him. Apparently not put off by my awkwardness, he takes it from me and looks over it for a moment. "So you're ready to give things a proper go then, yes?" "Yep." I'm not entirely sure myself. However, I suck up my insecurities and nod, leaving myself no option but to commit. "Fantastic, I'll sign this now." He goes over the desk at the front of the room, leaning the form on it and adding his signature to the bottom to approve my membership, sealing my fate for the rest of the school year. I'm an official member of the music club. The revelation leaves me feeling both alarmed and numb at the same time. It's a really jarring sensation that I can't quite understand. Struggling to shake it off, I fix my attention back on Kudo-sensei, who returns to me with a jovial expression. "That's all sorted, we can start settling you in properly today." His eyes land upon the piece of paper in my other hand. "Yep, that is the list you sent to us earlier, to Akane." I nod again, unable to force any word until the throng in my head calms down. "I'm glad you got it. Once you get a feel for the piece, things will become really much easier. That will be where your free practice time comes in really handy." I look at him briefly in acknowledgement, remembering how important the free practice period is from my last club session. It will give me the time to start catching up to everybody else. As more club members filter into the room, setting up their instrument, Kudo-sensei steps back with a grin, excusing me to the piano. It's probably almost time to start. Who knows? Approaching the stool I have occupied twice already, I feel a fresh sense of trepidation, knowing that it will be my regular seat as of today. I lower myself down onto it so gingerly, it's as though it's made of needles. Ow. It's such a bad experience, you know. I can't believe I have actually agreed to this. Things have stayed crazily from the path while I wait. Things have strayed crazily from the path I was walking before. The path that felt the most comfortable to me and had no unexpected events. All I can pray for as I sit there stiffly and wait for club activities to begin is that this alternative path is still comfortable enough to follow. The first half of the club session passes as it had the previous 2 times. I don't think I have made any improvement whatsoever, but then I suppose I haven't really been practicing. This is something I'm currently attempting to remedy. After calling for pre-practice time, Kudo-sensei had made a beeline for me, apparently eager to help me with the piece I've been joining the other members on. He is currently standing beside me, pointing out parts of the sheet music and elaborating on how the direction should be performed. It gives me another sense of nostalgia, reminding me of my old piano teacher. Funny how life seems to go in circles sometimes. After a few more run-through of various sections of the piece, he nods, seeming relatively satisfied. "I think you understand it more thoroughly now, would you agree?" I nod in reply. His guidance has actually helped a little bit. "Good, keep going over it and you'll have it sounding smooth soon." He goes to leave but then catches himself, seeming to have something else to say. "What is it?" "By the way, how did you get on with Fujiwara? I was going to ask you on Friday, but I had to cancel on you." Recalling the dark, empty music room and Haruka's flute echoing melodically from down the corridor, I almost started to grin. It had been a funny scenario. Kudo-sensei is referring to the shorter conversation we had, during which I apologized for scaring her and she hinted at wanting to talk to me again. Our meeting on Friday was much more in-depth. In fact, Kudo-sensei should probably thanking Haruka for having whatever crazy effect she had on me that made me fill out that application form, resulting in me even being here right now. Yeah, talk a bit. More than I'm managing to do now, Kudo-sensei still doesn't seem offended my awkwardness, however apparently used to it already. I'm glad to hear it. It is nice to know that she's speaking to someone for a change. Might make her a little more confident. For a second I almost think that he's talking about me, considering how awful I am with people, but he might as well be. He grows thoughtful for a moment before piping up again. I won't mind if you have a little chat with her towards the end of our free practice, as long as you make sure you're improving with your playing. Well, why don't you just play with Haruka? Just saying. I think it will do both of you some good. I hadn't expected him to say something like that. I thought he'd be practically cracking the whip at my side, wanting me to get playing up to scratch as quickly as possible. The news that he'll allow me to disappear for a little while, if I feel like it, is a pleasant surprise. I'm not sure how often I'll use this free escape ticket, considering that I have a lot of work to do. But I had told Haruka that I'd talk to her today, so I'll take him up on it this time. Gratefully for his leniency, I nod and he smiles in return, striding off to leave me to my practicing. Well, I guess I have no choice but to keep advertising my inadequate piano skill to a room full of better musicians. At least Kudo-sensei gave me some useful pointer today. After going over things several more times, I begin to feel a little burnout from repeating the same thing. Casting an eye up at the clock at the wall, I see that there's not much time left until the end of the club meeting. I guess this is my cue to go talk to Haruka. I start to feel a bit bad for abandoning practice, but Kudo-sensei had explicitly stated that he was okay with me doing this, so I didn't really have a reason to feel guilty. Gathering my things together, I make my way across the room towards the corridor. As I do, Kudo-sensei glances up from the paperwork on his desk, shooting me a brief smile of reassurance as he noticed where I'm going. I'm lucky that he genuinely doesn't seem to mind. As soon as I enter the calmer atmosphere of the corridor, I seem to become both more relaxed and tense simultaneously. I guess it is a different kind of tension from what I feel around everybody else. I'm still nervous around Haruka and there's no denying it. It's just that among the awkwardness, there's something that makes me feel a little less on the spot. Well, I know exactly what it is. She can see. In Haruka's world, I don't even have a face. Oh, what a world that would be. Shaking off my darkening thoughts, I approach the door, knocking to announce myself before heading inside. Knock knock. Who's there? Haruka. Haruka who? I can think of the contagion for the joke. Haruka stopped playing at the sound of my knock as before and is gazing hesitantly in my direction. It is me, Keru. She seems a little relieved to know who is visiting her. Hi, Keru. Wasn't sure if you come. Were you practicing? Yeah, Kudo-sensei was helping me with a piece. It's the reason I'd taken so long in getting here. I wanted to get at least some of his instruction into my head before I slip away. Haruka nods quietly. How are you finding it? I'm not sure whether she is referring to that particular piece or the club as a whole. Both are almost equally overwhelming, though I assume that she means the former. A bit hard. I haven't played piano for years. Haruka seems somewhat intrigued by this statement. So you played when you were younger then? Yes. You're not in confirm. Yeah, you realize your mistake. You can nod your way through this conversation, Kakeru. You have got to use your voice with Haruka. Taking a breath, I gear myself up to try to be more talkative. Yeah, I had private lessons. I feel like I have forgotten most of it. She exhales in vague amusement, although I get the sense that there's also an understanding about my hesitance about playing within it. I don't know the piece either or many on the club list at all. Haruka face grow inquisitive again. They have a list? Oh no. Haruka. I mumble an affirmative noise while taking my backpack from my shoulders to retrieve said list. Haruka listened with interest as I reel off some of the piece on it. As I speak, her expression brightened, a knowing glint in her eyes as if she is quite familiar with a lot of the music I'm mentioning. It makes me feel even more of a failure for not really knowing any. Oh. When I finish listing off the piece, she seems to ponder something for a moment, pausing before she replies. Have you been to the library yet? No. For some reason the question caught me off guard, not quite sure why the library is student relevant to this situation. Thankfully Haruka is quick to explain. It has a big sheet music section. You can borrow all sorts of things. Her meaning clicks into place in my mind. I'm guessing that I could probably find the sheet music for everything on the list there. That would make things a little easier. The other members already have theirs and have studied it diligently. Getting my own copies will help me do the same. I could try reading it at home like I did for my old piano teacher. You are right, I should go there. She nods and then looks down at the ground for a second, fidgeting and shimming sheepish. We could go now, if you want. She seems quite embarrassed to ask me. Indeed. And I'm taken aback by the invitation. Is the library still open? Yeah, definitely. I'm the librarian. I am definitely gonna open the library for you too. I never really spent any time there, considering that I prefer to spend as much of my school time as possible hiding away from everyone. The library can get pretty crowded. Yes, it stays open quite late to let people study after class. I've been there at this time before. Her face lightens a little as something crosses her mind. It's really quiet around now. She doesn't need to explain why that's something that makes her happy. My favorite time of room is an empty one. The thought of entering into a basically unknown area of the school is not something I welcome, but considering how most students will have either gone home or still be in their club meetings, it might not be so bad. Better than waltzing in there in the middle of the day. Thinking it over, I reluctantly agree, acknowledging that I should really try to do what I can to improve my playing, since I have joined the club so late and so out of practice to boot. Alright, do you think Kudo-sensei will mind? I don't know. Glancing at the clock, I see that we still have a little club time left. He might have been okay with me coming here, but the two of us abandoning the club to go off somewhere else might be pushing in a bit. Haruka looks conflicted for a moment before seeming to relax. We can always ask. I have left the club to go there before. Not entirely convinced that our request will be granted, but I go with it anyway. Okay, let's give it a try. Haruka nods and I give her a minute to get her belongings together. I almost got to help, but my remaining nerves keep me from moving. I also feel as though I probably just get in her way. After donning her school bag and picking up her flute case, her free hand moves toward the piano, feeling for the cane that is propped against it. She finds it quite easily and I feel momentarily impressed. Although she has probably had a lot of practice with it, this is most likely. I almost read it as more likely because of the R and E. Most likely a well-worn routine for her. When she turns to me, she wears an expression that portrays some visible nerves, and I can understand why. Despite the fact that the two of us had several conversations, we are about to go somewhere together for the first time, while still not knowing each other very well. For her, having a disability of this manner, it probably adds a whole heap of worry to it. I'm not sure what to say to comfort her, especially because I'm anxious myself, so I simply open the door for her shitting my inadequacies as I do so. As we both step out into the corridor, Haruka takes a slow but steady lead. I am happy to trundle behind her for now, ever unsure of myself and not wanting to draw too much attention. However, as we both join the bustle of the main room, at least half of the face in the room swivel towards Haruka in surprise. And then to me by extension. I guess they're probably used to never seeing her here. Yeah, they're even more shocked to her being here than you. Considering that they are very, thoughtful. Almost all of them are very thoughtful, not loving or doing things like that. Seeing them shocked by Haruka is really amazing. Haruka continues towards Kudo-sensei's desk and I do my best to tell her sheepishly, twisting my body slightly away from everybody and staring pointedly at the floor as I go. Thankfully, we don't have to try to get to Kudo-sensei's attention as he too turns his head to see what people are glancing at, wearing a similarly surprised look as he stands up. Fujiwara Akane. This is a surprise. Can I help you with something? My lips part but no words come out straight away. Still silenced by my nerves, to my relief, Haruka speaks for the both of us, the position of her body angled towards the sound of Kudo-sensei's voice. Would it be alright if we went to the library? I can show Akane where to get his sheet music for the group pieces. Her voice comes timidly and I find myself contemplating her shyness. She can't really know that any of the other club members are looking at her, but judging by her slightly shaky demeanor, she can still sense it somehow. Kudo-sensei ponders her question for a moment, seeming disapproving at first, but after glancing at the clock and turning the matter over in his mind, his expression lightens again. Alright then, I suppose there's not a huge amount of club time left, and it is nice to see you enthusiastic to learn the piece, Akane. He directs the last part of his sentence to me, smiling encouragingly, and I avert my eyes, nodding. I'm not sure I'm exactly enthusiastic, but I'm doing it anyway. I'll see you again in the next club meeting. If there's anything you can find, just let me know. I'm sure I'll be able to get hold of a photocopy from somewhere. Haruka and I bow our heads in thanks and make our way towards the door. Both of our posture hunched slightly in discomfort as we endure a few less interested looks from club members. And there we go, out of the room. The atmosphere changes when we get out of the club room, both of us basking in the emptiness of the hallway. Haruka turns to me slightly, seeming less rattled now that we are alone again. Are you ready to go? I collect myself, recalling her earlier reassurance that the library is quiet at this time of day. Yeah, okay. I let Haruka go first as we climb the stairs, slowing my pace so that she can take her time. However, as we reach the floor that we need for the library, we end up striding side by side together, and a very unfamiliar feeling comes over me. I have never walked next to a blind person before. Alright, I'm not sure what to do with myself as I watch Haruka take relatively confident steps. Aww. Hurricane bobbing in front of her to guide her as she navigates the hallway. I almost feel as though I should be helping her out in some way, but strangely, she looks as though she knows exactly what she is doing, so I reel my concerns back in and simply focus on my own walking. I do give her a bit of a white bird though, just in case I bump into her or something. Considering how awkward and clumsy I am, it wouldn't surprise me. After another minute or so, we reach the large double doors of the library entrance. This is where Haruka hesitates for the first time since leaving the club room, looking a little unsure of herself. I'm guessing she doesn't come here on as much of a regular basis as the other place in school that she's familiar with. I take the initiative and push the door open, holding it for her. Here, she seems both surprised and glad that I have made the first move, thanking me somewhat bashfully and heading inside. I have to admit, I never really been in here before. I think I came in a couple of times at the start of my first year, but found it too intimidating to keep up. It does feel a lot more inviting this time though, considering how quiet it is. Haruka had been right about that. A couple of scattered student books are sitting at desk poring over their textbook. But other than that, it is practically deserted, just what I like. The music section is over here. Catching my attention again, Haruka starts to head towards a section of bookshelves and I follow her lead. I feel a bit guilty for not replying, having been in a slight daydream, but by the way she relaxed once I reach her side again, I assume that she can tell that I'm there. My footstep, probably. We take a left down on a row of shelves and then she comes to a halt. Here it is. Glancing at the sign of the end of the rows, I see that there are both sections of sheet music and books about various styles of popular music, too. I hadn't realized that the school put this much of focus on music. There's a lot here. Yes, I like this part of the library. They have a lot of things for musicians. You can find loads of classical sheet music over here for a lot of instruments. She turns slightly, her gaze moving fondly across the spine of the book as though she were actually looking at them. She really does love music. Okay, I think it's been 30 minutes. And I have to end the video right here. Why? Because it's 30 minutes. I'm surprised for a demo, this is quite long. Wait, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 5 or 6 parts already? That means it's already been 3 hours? Oh my god. Yeah, see you later in the next part then. Bye.